The champagne flutes clinked around the table like tiny bells announcing my humiliation. I sat there, frozen, staring at the leather bill holder my sister Rebecca had just slid across the white tablecloth toward me. The gold-embossed number glared up at me. 3,270s. "I'm sorry, what?" I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. Rebecca's perfectly manicured hand waved dismissively, her tennis bracelet catching the light from the crystal chandelier above. "Oh, come on, Maya. Don't make this awkward. You ordered the lobster, didn't you?" Around the table, my family, or the people I'd called family for 28 years, suddenly found their wine glasses, their dessert plates, the ornate wallpaper absolutely fascinating. According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. My mother picked at her tiramisu. My father cleared his throat and looked away. My younger brother Tyler stared at his phone like it contained the secrets of the universe. "Rebecca, this is a family dinner. You invited me to celebrate your promotion." My heart hammered against my ribs. This was Grayson's, one of the most expensive restaurants in the city. Rebecca had insisted we all come here, had insisted we go all out, because she'd just made partner at her law firm. "Yes, and?" Rebecca's smile was razor sharp. "Everyone pays their share. That's yours." I looked at the bill again. It listed everything. Multiple bottles of Dom Perignon, appetizers I hadn't touched, Rebecca's $400 Wagyu steak, desserts I hadn't even seen arrive. The lobster I'd ordered was $85. Everything else belonged to them. "This isn't my share. This is the entire bill." Rebecca's smile widened. "Maya, sweetie, I think there's been some confusion about your place at this table." She leaned forward, and I caught a whiff of her expensive perfume, the one I'd bought her for her birthday last month. "You're not actually family. You do remember that you're adopted, right?" The words hit like a physical blow. Around the table, no one moved, no one protested. "Rebecca!" My mother started weakly, but Rebecca cut her off. "Mom, we discussed this. Maya's always gotten everything handed to her. Scholarships meant for disadvantaged kids, sympathy points, everyone always making exceptions for poor adopted Maya." Her voice dripped with venom I'd never heard directed at me before. "Real family takes care of each other, but you're not real family. So why should we subsidize your meal?" The restaurant buzzed with the quiet conversations of other diners, the clink of silverware, the soft piano music from the corner, normal sounds for everyone else's normal evening. For me, it was the soundtrack to my world shattering. "Is this how you all feel?" I looked at my mother, who'd rocked me through nightmares, my father, who'd taught me to ride a bike, Tyler, who I'd helped with his college essays just last year. Oh, silence. "Mom?" My voice cracked. She dabbed her lips with her napkin. "Honey, Rebecca does have a point. You've always been different. And now that you're an adult, maybe it's time we all acknowledged certain realities." Different. The word hung in the air like poison gas. Rebecca pushed the bill closer. "So, are you going to pay, or do I need to call the manager? Because honestly, Maya, if you can't afford to eat here, maybe you should go find another table. Somewhere more your level." Something inside me snapped and reformed into something harder, colder. I looked at my sister, my former sister, really looked at her. Her smug expression, her designer clothes, her complete certainty that she'd won, that I'd crumble, pay the bill, and slink away humiliated. I pulled out my phone and took a picture of the bill. Then another of the table, of all of them sitting there, no one meeting my eyes. "What are you doing?" Rebecca's voice sharpened. "Documenting?" I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. "You want me to pay this? Fine, I'll pay it." I pulled out my credit card. the one I'd been saving for a down payment on a condo, and handed it to the hovering waiter, who looked deeply uncomfortable. The entire transaction took 3 minutes. 3 minutes while my family sat in silence, while Rebecca's satisfied smile grew, while my heart turned to stone. When the receipt printed, I signed it with steady hands. Then I looked at Rebecca. "You're right about one thing. I'm not your family. And you know what? That's the best news I've gotten in years." I walked out of Grayson's with my head high, leaving behind 28 years of memories, of Christmas mornings and birthday cakes, of believing I belonged somewhere. I didn't cry until I reached my car. The next morning, I woke up with swollen eyes and a clarity I'd never experienced before. I looked at my phone and saw texts from Tyler. "Sorry, sis, Rebecca was just drunk." And my mother, "Let's talk when you've calmed down." When I'd calmed down, as if my anger was the problem. I ignored them and opened my laptop. I'd spent most of the night awake, remembering things I'd pushed aside, patterns I'd ignored, how Rebecca always forgot to include me in family photos, how my parents had paid for Rebecca's law school but told me I needed to earn scholarships for my teaching degree because it would build character, how Tyler got a new car for his 16th birthday while I'd gotten a bus pass, how they'd all sat there last night and let Rebecca humiliate me, how they'd agreed with her. I pulled up my cloud storage and started organizing. Photos, videos, documents, everything from the past 10 years. Every family event, every interaction. I was meticulous by nature. It's what made me a good teacher. I documented everything without even realizing it. Then I started making calls. First, to my landlord. I'd been planning to move anyway. Now I'd just accelerate the timeline. Out of state, fresh start. Second, to the family lawyer, not their lawyer, the one who'd handled my adoption. Mr. Patterson was semi-retired but remembered me. He was surprised to hear from me. He was more surprised by my questions. "Maya, are you sure you want to go down this road?" he asked after I'd explained everything. "I've never been more sure of anything. Give me 3 days. I'll dig up everything you need." Third, I called my best friend Simone, who was a social media manager for a PR firm. "Sim, I need your help with something, and I need you to not talk me out of it." "Hit me," she said, and I could hear her coffee maker gurgling in the background. I told her everything, the dinner, the bill, the adoption comment. When I finished, she was silent for a long moment. "Those absolute monsters," she finally said. "What do you need?" "I need to tell a story, and I need a lot of people to hear it." "Oh, honey, you've come to the right place." Mr. Patterson delivered on day 2, not 3. The documents he sent made my blood run cold. My adoption had been private, arranged when I was 3 days old. My biological mother had been young, overwhelmed, but she'd made one request, that I be placed with a loving family who wanted a child desperately. What Mr. Patterson had uncovered was that my parents, the Marshalls, had received a substantial settlement the year before they adopted me. Mr. Marshall had been injured in a workplace accident. The settlement was $2.3 million. They'd adopted me 3 months after receiving the money. But here's what made my stomach turn. There were tax documents, adoption tax credits, dependent deductions. Over the years, I'd saved them tens of thousands in taxes. There was more. My biological mother had set up a small trust fund, $50,000, meant to be given to me when I turned 21 to help with college or starting my life. The trust had been transferred to the Marshalls as my legal guardians. I'd never received a cent of it. I'd never known it existed. When I'd asked my parents for help with college, they'd told me there was no money, that I needed to figure it out myself. I'd taken out loans, worked 2 jobs, lived on rice and beans for 4 years. The trust fund records showed regular withdrawals, Rebecca's law school tuition, Tyler's car, family vacations I'd been too busy to attend. They'd stolen from me. For years. I sat at my kitchen table, hands shaking, staring at the documents. The paper trail was clear, damning, and completely legal. As my guardians, they'd had access to the trust. They'd just never been required to tell me about it. Morally bankrupt, legally untouchable. Not quite, Mr. Patterson had said when I'd called him back. There might be grounds for a lawsuit, breach of fiduciary duty. The trust specifically stated the money was for your benefit. How long would a lawsuit take? Years, and it would cost more than I have. I understand. But I didn't need a lawsuit. I needed something better. I needed the truth. Simone and I worked for 3 days straight. We crafted the story carefully, backed up every claim with documentation, made sure everything was ironclad. "You're sure about this?" Simone asked me the night before we went live. "Once this is out there, there's no taking it back." I thought about Rebecca's face at dinner, the casual cruelty, the way she'd said, "Go find another table," like I was trash to be discarded. I'm sure. We launched on a Friday morning. I'd created a new social media account under a pseudonym, Adopted Not Ashamed, and Simone had helped me craft the first post. It was simple. A photo of that bill from Grayson's, the $3,270 circled in red. And then the story, told plainly, without melodrama, the family dinner, the bill, what my sister said, how my family sat in silence. Then, the kicker, screenshots of the trust fund documents with identifying information redacted but the numbers clear. The story of money that should have been mine, spent on my siblings while I struggled with student loans. "This is what adoption looked like in my family," I wrote. "I was an investment, a tax break, and when I'd served my purpose, I wasn't even worth the cost of a lobster dinner." I included screenshots of the text messages from my family afterward. Tyler's dismissive, "She was just drunk." My mother's, "When you've calmed down." I ended with this. "To every adopted child who's been made to feel less than, you are not less than. You are not a favor someone did. You are not a burden. You are worthy of love, of family, of belonging. And if the people who adopted you can't see that, the failure is theirs, not yours." I hit post and closed my laptop. Then I waited. The response was nuclear. Within 2 hours, the post had 5,000 shares. By that evening, 50,000. Local news outlets started reaching out, then national ones. Adoption advocacy groups shared it. Lawyers who specialized in adoption law weighed in on the trust fund issue. Family therapists posted video responses. But most importantly, other adopted people shared their stories. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. Stories of being treated as less than biological children, of emotional manipulation, of being reminded in small and large ways that they were different, that they were other. My story had ripped open something raw and real, and people were bleeding truth into the comments. By Sunday morning, Warsaw Adopted Not Ashamed was trending. News vans were parked outside my apartment. Simone fielded calls from morning shows, podcasts, documentary producers. My phone, my real phone, under my real name, exploded with messages. Rebecca. "What did you do?" Tyler. "Maya, this is insane. You need to take it down right now." My mother. "How could you embarrass this family like this? Take down those posts immediately." My father, in a voicemail sounding tired. "Maya, please. This is killing your mother. We can talk about this. Just, please stop." Rebecca again. "My firm is asking questions. Do you understand what you've done?" To me? To my career? I blocked them all. What I didn't block was the message from Mr. Patterson. "Maya, you need to see this." He'd attached a news article. Apparently, someone had done what I hadn't had the money to do. They dug deeper into my family's finances. A forensic accountant, motivated by my story, had volunteered his time. The trust fund was just the beginning. There had been monthly support payments from my biological mother, small amounts, $200 here, $300 there, sent for years because she'd wanted to make sure I had what I needed. The Marshalls had accepted every payment and never told me she existed. The accountant estimated they'd received over $60,000 from her over the years. Money that should have gone to my clothes, my school supplies, my activities. I'd worn thrift store clothes while Rebecca got Nordstrom. I'd packed sandwiches while they ate out. I'd been told we couldn't afford things that they'd absolutely afforded for my siblings. The story exploded even bigger. News anchors called it a betrayal of the sacred trust of adoption. Lawyers started discussing whether I had grounds for civil action after all. Adoption agencies released statements about properly vetting adoptive families. And Rebecca's law firm, prestigious, image-conscious, very concerned about public perception, made an announcement. Rebecca Marshall was taking a leave of absence to focus on personal matters. She'd been suspended, pending an ethics review. The call came on a Wednesday, 2 weeks after I'd pressed post. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Maya? The voice was female, hesitant, with a slight southern accent. Yes? My name is Jennifer Coates. I'm your biological mother. The world stopped. I saw the story, she continued, words tumbling out. I've been trying to find you for years, but the adoption was closed, and the Marshalls wouldn't return my letters. I kept sending money because it was the only way I knew to take care of you. I thought they were giving it to you. I thought you knew about me. I sat down hard on my couch. They never told me. I know that now. Her voice broke. Maya, I am so sorry. When I placed you for adoption, I was 17. I wanted you to have everything I couldn't give you. They seemed so perfect, so stable. I thought I was doing the right thing. You were, I said, and I meant it. You're not the one who failed here. We talked for 3 hours. She told me about her life. She'd gone to community college, become a nurse, gotten married, had 2 more kids. My half-siblings. She told me she'd thought about me every single day, had sent birthday cards to the Marshall's address every year, had hoped they were giving them to me. They'd never given me a single one. Would you? Jennifer's voice was small, afraid. Would you want to meet? Someday? No pressure, Yes, I said immediately. Yes, I would. Like that very much. After we hung up, I sat in my apartment and cried. But this time, they weren't tears of grief. They were something else entirely. Relief, hope, beginning. The legal threats came next, as I'd known they would. The Marshall's lawyer sent a cease and desist. I was defaming them. I was causing emotional distress. I needed to retract everything and issue a public apology, or they'd sue me for everything I had. I forwarded it to Mr. Patterson, who called me back laughing. Maya, do you know what discovery is? Vaguely. It's the part of a lawsuit where both sides have to turn over all relevant documents and evidence. If they sue you, we get to subpoena everything. Every bank record, every email, every text message, everything about how they treated you, how they spent your money, all of it becomes part of the public record. And they know this? Their lawyer certainly does. This is a bluff. They're hoping you'll scare easily. He paused. Do you? I thought about Rebecca's face at that dinner, about years of feeling like I didn't quite belong, about my biological mother, sending money she could barely spare because she loved me enough to give me up and then loved me enough to keep trying to help. No, I said, I don't scare easily. Not anymore. I posted a response to the cease and desist letter. Not the letter itself, that would have been inappropriate. but a simple statement. I've been threatened with legal action for telling my truth. I stand by every word I've written. Everything I've shared is documented and accurate. If the marshals would like to discuss this in a court of law, where all evidence would become public record, I welcome that opportunity. The lawsuit never materialized. Instead, 3 days later, I got a different kind of message. From my father, not through a lawyer, just a simple text. Can we talk? Please, just you and me. We met at a coffee shop, neutral territory. He looked older than I remembered, grayer, more worn. He ordered black coffee and sat across from me, hands wrapped around the paper cup like he was cold. I'm not here to ask you to forgive us, he started. I don't think I deserve that. I waited. Your mother, she's not handling this well. Rebecca's barely speaking to us. Tyler's angry. Everything's falling apart. He looked up at me. But that's not why I'm here. Then why are you here? Because I need you to know that I see it now. How we treated you. How we let Rebecca treat you. The trust fund. He swallowed hard. Maya, I told myself we were using that money for family things. That you benefited from it too. But that was a lie. We spent it on them. On Rebecca and Tyler. And we let you struggle when you didn't have to. Why? My voice came out steadier than I felt. Why did you even adopt me if you were going to treat me like that? He was quiet for a long time. Your mother couldn't have more children after Rebecca. She wanted another child so badly. And I thought it would be good for Rebecca to have a sibling. I thought we were doing something good. But you didn't love me. That's not... He stopped, started again. I did love you, Maya. I do love you. But your mother, she always favored Rebecca. And I let her. I took the easy path. When Rebecca started treating you differently, I should have stopped it. When we used your trust fund for Tyler's car, I should have said no. Every time we chose them over you, I should have fought harder. But you didn't. No, I didn't. He looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. And now I've lost you, and I deserve that. I sat with that for a moment, with his regret and his admission and his pain. Part of me wanted to comfort him, to make it better. The old Maya would have, but I wasn't her anymore. You're right, I said quietly. You do deserve that. Thank you for being honest. I stood up to leave. Maya, wait. The trust fund money. What's left of it? It's yours. We're transferring it back. It's not much, maybe $15,000, but it's yours. And Jennifer's money, we kept it in a separate account, all of it, with interest. That's yours too. I turned back. Why now? Because it was always yours. And because... He rubbed his face. Because maybe if I do the right thing now, someday I can look at myself in the mirror again. He slid an envelope across the table. Account information, transfer paperwork, it's all there, no strings. I took the envelope. This doesn't fix anything. I know. And I'm not coming back. To the family, I mean. That's done. I know that, too. He stood up, and for a moment he looked like he might try to hug me. He didn't. For what it's worth, Maya, I'm proud of you. What you did, standing up, telling your truth, that took courage, more courage than I've ever had. He left, and I sat there with my coffee and an envelope containing proof that sometimes people do the right thing, even if it's late, even if it doesn't fix what they broke. I met Jennifer and my half-siblings, Emma, 16, and Josh, 13, on a sunny Saturday in April. She'd driven up from Tennessee, nervous energy radiating off her in waves. When I saw her face, I started crying. She had my eyes, my smile. Josh had my stubborn chin. Emma had my laugh. You look just like your grandmother, Jennifer whispered, hugging me tight. Oh, honey. Oh, I've missed you so much. We spent the day together, walking through the park, talking, learning each other. Emma showed me her art portfolio. She wanted to go to design school. Josh told me about his soccer team. Jennifer told me stories about my biological father, who'd passed away from cancer 5 years ago, but who'd always wondered about me. He would have loved you, she said. He wanted to reach out so many times, but the adoption was closed, and we didn't want to disrupt your life. My life was already disrupted, I told her. You would have been the good disruption. That evening, as they were getting ready to drive back, Emma hugged me and whispered, "I'm really glad we found you. I always wanted a big sister." "Me too," I whispered back. The aftermath wasn't all neat and tidy. It never is in real life. Rebecca lost her partnership track. She blamed me publicly in a series of unhinged social media posts that only made things worse for her. Last I heard, she'd moved to a different state, working for a much smaller firm. Tyler eventually reached out with an actual apology. Not a sorry you were hurt non-apology, but a real one. "I was a coward," he wrote. "I should have stood up for you. I'm sorry I didn't." We're not close, but we text sometimes. Maybe someday we'll be more than that. My mother never apologized. She told people I'd exaggerated everything, that I'd always been dramatic, that I'd ruined their family for attention. I heard through the grapevine that she's now estranged from Rebecca, too. Apparently, Rebecca blamed her for not controlling me. The money from the trust fund and Jennifer's savings, $32,000 total, became my fresh start fund. I moved to Tennessee, close to Jennifer. I got a job teaching at a good school. I bought a small house with a porch. Jennifer and I have dinner every Sunday. Emma wants me to help her with her college applications. Josh taught me to play video games. I found my family, just not the one I started with. 1 year after that dinner at Grayson's, I was scrolling through my phone when I saw a notification. Someone had posted in Notchot's Adopted Not Ashamed and tagged me. It was a young woman, maybe 20, holding a sign that read, "My adoptive parents told me I should be grateful they saved me. Maya's story helped me realize I don't owe anyone gratitude for basic decency. Thank you." Below it, hundreds of comments, thousands of likes. People sharing their own signs, their own stories, their own journeys from shame to strength. My story had become bigger than me. It had become a movement. I thought about that night at Grayson's sometimes. The humiliation, the pain. Rebecca sliding that bill across the table and telling me to find another table. She'd been right about one thing. I did need to find another table. I'd found a whole new family to sit at. And you know what? The meal was so much sweeter when shared with people who actually loved me. I never paid them back the $3,270, but I did send Rebecca a card on the anniversary of that dinner. Inside, I'd written just 5 words. "Thanks for setting me free. I never heard back. I didn't need to." Epilogue. 2 years later, I stood in front of a courthouse with Jennifer beside me. The judge had just approved the adult adoption papers. At 30 years old, I was officially, legally Jennifer Coates's daughter. "This feels right," Jennifer said, crying happy tears. "It always should have been this way." Emma and Josh had flown in for the occasion. So had Simone. So had Mr. Patterson. So, surprisingly, had Tyler, who'd asked if he could come and witness me doing something right for once. We took photos on the courthouse steps, all of us laughing, all of us together. That night, we celebrated at a nice restaurant. Not as expensive as Grayson's, but nice. When the bill came, Jennifer reached for it, but I gently took her hand. "Let me get this one, Mom," I said. "Mom." The word felt like sunshine. Jennifer smiled at me with tears in her eyes. "Okay, honey, but next time it's on me." "Deal." I paid the bill, $380 for 6 of us, and left a generous tip. As we walked out into the warm evening, Emma linked her arm through mine. "So, big sister," she said, "what now?" I looked at my family, my real family, and smiled. Now we live. And we did. Every day after that, we did.